Absolutely, I'm saved. Like if I die, yep.
It's funny how confident you are about that. I know we've had this conversation before. I just don't feel like super confident.
Well, I know I've changed.
Right. I definitely had a transformation.
Yep.
But I just don't know if that means like.
I don't think I've fallen. It says, "Take heed lest you fall." I don't think I've fallen out of grace since I've been saved.
I think I'm just learning like what coveting is. Because I think I've never been super materialistic, but I don't fully at this moment understand coveting anymore. Like all of those sins that when I was an atheist I said I didn't do, like I don't steal, I don't lie, I don't do this and that. It's like when you've been a Christian for long enough, you start to kind of question again, well, what really are each of those things? Like, you know, thou shalt not kill. That seems like it should be pretty straightforward, but then Jesus said, you know, just hating somebody is like killing them, or, you know, just you know, so you have to like go back and rethink everything.
You have to re-examine your heart.
And yeah,
it's relative to each person. There's some hard, fast, straight rules, but then once you're on the hard and fast, then it's like, okay, what's going on within you? You know, you need to go beyond every day, re-examining.
I think there are deeper and deeper levels.
Yeah.
Like, you know, maybe once you've mastered kind of the superficial level, like, well, yeah, obviously I'm not gonna go and kill somebody's physical body. Then there's the next level.
I think that's why works become so important to so many people, because, which I think it is important, because I think at a certain point, how much perfecting can you do? It's like, okay, you're gonna hermit, you know, okay, now that you've hermited, what good are you to the world if you are now hermited?
Yeah.
You're not. So you boil down to a point where you can help other people, and then if you aren't helping other people when you can, I think you're in sin.
Yeah.
So, and then you help other people until you've started to take on some sins, because that's what happens when you're helping other people. You start to become either prideful or too dogmatic or too whatever, you know, lenient on your own sin, right? You anger, whatever. Things start to appear while you're working with other people because you're entering the world. So then you have to reel it back and become a hermit. You kind of go back and forth. That's why I think Jesus said, go in your prayer closet, be alone. You know, you need to get away from people, you know, boil that stuff off. Yeah, but you have to work. I think that whole book of Ecclesiastes is proof that you have to work. You know, once you're perfected, it's like if you don't tell other people that they're doing wrong, or if you don't, that sin's going to be imputed onto you.
Yeah, well, you're never perfected. You're always continually improving, continually being sanctified, and no matter how far you get, you always still fall short of the glory of God. But I think the solution is that you are always oriented towards improving, like you're always aiming for the right target, and to sin is to miss the target, you know, and you know, you're at least facing towards God. Like to hate means to turn your back on, and so the opposite to love means to face. You're facing towards God, you're aiming towards righteousness, you're trying to do the right thing. But just like a little child who's just learning how to walk, like if you're trying to walk, then maybe God won't blame you if you know, fall down, because you're just trying your best, and you know,
yeah,
you're always gonna fall short.
There's a greater grace if you're striving for perfection towards to God. Yes, but Yep. You need to be careful with that for sure. You can't rely on grace. You shouldn't rely on grace.
No, because I think the moment that you are relying on grace completely, then you are no longer facing towards God. You're no longer aiming. I mean, if you've stopped trying to aim for the bullseye, and you're like, I'm just gonna kind of flippantly just shoot my arrows, and just say, well, grace will make up for it. I don't think that works.
You're starting to abuse the grace.
Mm-hmm. You have to, try to share in the inheritance with Jesus. You have to try to be a child of God by following his commands. So. And then you have to have forgiveness, because you'll be measured and you'll be forgiven the same way that you measure and forgive other people, right? But there are some really simple things that can put you on the naughty list. Like people, like drunkards, for example, won't inherit the kingdom, right?
Yep.
So, what does it mean to be a drunkard? Does that mean getting drunk one time, or on purpose, or does it mean? What does it mean exactly to be a drunkard?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just don't drink alcohol at all, but the Bible doesn't say that you can't drink alcohol at all, right?
Yeah, I think if you're seeking after, it says revilers, drunkards, it's kind of like repetitious. If you're seeking after that stuff, you're not seeking after God, clearly. You're seeking after vanity, things that are fleshly, right? It's the same sins of the flesh, the same works of the flesh are those same listed in there.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
There's also complacency. There are lots of times in the Bible where it says, don't forget this, don't forget that, or it says, remember this, remember that. Like, you're not off the hook just because you kind of became complacent. Like, that's really easy with gossip. Just talking about other people, not, gossip is talking about other people, and even if you don't have any, ill intention when you're talking about somebody else, you have to think about who you're talking to, and if that other person, if you're participating in having a conversation when the other person does have an ill intention talking about somebody. That's another trap that I fall into.
You can listen, but you need to realign that person and say, well, and show them how they can have compassion on that person that harmed them.
Yeah, well, sometimes you just don't know the intention of the other person, and they'll just start talking about something, and then you're faced with having to be really careful with how you respond. It's really, really difficult to figure that out, in a split second.
Yeah.
What's going on in this conversation,
Yeah. I think you need to just be cognizant of where you might have an opportunity to fall out of, grace. So you need to really be remembering God in every conversation. But when it comes to what you're going to say and all that, I think that's why Jesus said, don't worry about what you're going to say when you get in front of the magistrates. Just, I'll give you the words, I'll give you the remembrance. So.
Mm-hmm. And then that's when you have to rely on grace, because it's like, I can't be perfect all the time. and at least I wasn't. At least you have to just look at my intentions and see that my intention wasn't to do the wrong thing. I'm just a child, you know. I'm
Mhm.
imperfect. I don't have the mind of God, you know. So, happy Thanksgiving.